Welcome to the Global Voices interview series here at the World Bank headquarters in Washington, D.C. We're live streaming here today at the spring meetings. It's that time of year when over 8,000 development professionals, civil society, and global leaders gather to discuss ideas and solutions to solving the world's most pressing problems, ranging from human development, tackling fragility and conflict, building resilience, and of course our ultimate goal of ending poverty. I'm Lana Wong, and I'm very pleased to be here today with Akihiko Nishio, the Vice President of Development Finance here at the World Bank. And he is in charge of the International Development Association, or IDA, and that is really at the heart of the World Bank's work. But before we discuss that, let me please also welcome our online audience. Thank you for joining us today, and please join the conversation and add questions that you might have in the comments section of our video. So Aki, as we dive in, for many people, IDA is a woman's name. Can you break this down for our online audience and for people around the world and tell us what IDA actually is?
Right. Thank you very much, Lana, and it's great to be here and to be able to talk about IDA. As you said, IDA stands for International Development Association, and it is a fund created specifically to help the 75 the poorest countries in the world. I actually call it the Global Solidarity Fund for the Poor, because it's not just the beneficiary countries, but also the donor countries, which form part of the IDA community. There are 55 donor countries, so all in all, 130 countries around the world are part of this IDA community. We use the funds to finance projects in many different parts of the world, mainly in Africa. In different sectors, we finance schools, roads, renewable energy, and we also help out with the natural disaster recovery. So we are very active in different facets of the economy.
Great. And so what has IDA achieved so far?
Right. So we are now in the period called IDA 18, covering the 3 years between 2017 and 2019, and we mobilized $75 billion, which is a pretty big amount of money.
Absolutely.
So that's $25 billion per year, which is 50% larger than what it was in the previous cycle. So we are using this to deliver results on the ground in the various sectors that I mentioned. And just to give you some example from the past year, 1 year, we gave better sanitation services for 8.5 million people, immunized 18.1 million children, covered 12.1 million people in our social safety net programs, and also built 5,931 kilometers of roads. So we have these tangible results to show for.
That's fantastic. And so you are leading the charge for this IDA 19 replenishment. So what are you looking to achieve with that moving forward?
We are now in the middle of a replenishment for the next cycle, and we have already started on the discussion with the donor countries and the borrower countries. We are focusing on growth, people, and resilience because we believe that they are essential for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. We are paying particular attention to fragility, countries which are affected by conflicts and also with very fragile political, social environments. We are focusing on other things as well, like climate change, which is affecting a lot of poor countries. In fact, climate change may bring back 100 people back into poverty. Also things like governance, jobs. Jobs is very important. I think it's something that will resonate with many of you online because it's a big issue for the young people in developing countries.
Absolutely.
There is a need to create 28 million new jobs per year in South Asia and Africa alone for the next 10 years. So that's a lot of new jobs that needs to be generated, and IDA is going to be a driver to address this issue.
Amazing. Wow, so IDA clearly has an incredibly ambitious and potentially overwhelming mission and mandate. What keeps you up at night about IDA?
Well, there are many things that keep me awake at night, but perhaps most importantly, it is the time factor that we only have 10 years left until 2030, which is the Sustainable Development Goals target year. Mm-hmm. So we are racing against time. And also our job is getting more and more difficult because poverty is now concentrated in the most difficult countries, sometimes in conflict-affected areas. And in fact, in many of these countries, we see an increase in poverty rather than decrease. So we are backsliding in those countries, and we need to reverse that. Mm. In order to do that, we need to work faster and deeper. We need to work collectively, working closely with our development partners. So it's a lot of work, and there are many things to think about, but it's a fight worth fighting.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much, Aki, for your commitment and for your dedication to the mission of the World Bank.
Thank you.
And I thank you to the online audience for joining us today. And please stay tuned throughout the week for more Global Voices interviews. And don't forget, you can watch more than 20 World Bank Live events. And we'd love for you to join the conversation by using the hashtag WBGmeetings. I'm Lana Wong, and please, I hope you join us for more interviews this week. We'll see you then.